Greetings, everyone. Um, Good morning, and thank you all for joining us today for our monthly live stream, which is HOPES, also known as NCCU's Collegiate Recovery Communities monthly live stream, where we focus on different behavioral and process addictions, as well as positive coping strategies to avoid these issues. So today we're going to focus specifically on practicing alternative ways to decompress and cope with a stressful situation. One healthy alternative that's also great for the environment is gardening. So just to share a little bit more, not only do many students use NCCU's community garden as a resource in gaining access to food, yet using this method has also shown a decrease in substance use. So without further ado, we have a special treat in store for you all. I would like to introduce the wise, the immaculate, the exceptional Mrs. Farrington, who works as the Senior Academic Advisor of College and Health and Science and the advisor for NCCU's Community Garden. So, good morning, Mrs. Farrington. How are you doing today?
Good morning. I'm doing well and I'm happy to be here. Hello, everyone.
Hello, hello. So can you just tell us a little bit about yourself and what made you get into this field?
Like Trayshawn mentioned, my name is Tamet Farrington. Um, I am a gardening enthusiast, and so I do not claim to have all of the knowledge, but definitely have some experiences and some family history in gardening and farming and things of that nature. And so I find it to be very relaxing. I learn a lot. I think it also translates into seeking to pursue healthy living. And I've been at Central working with the community garden since about 2019. And this year we're celebrating 10 years. And so I'm happy to be continuing that legacy on. And so that's just a little bit about me.
Perfect, perfect. Thank you for sharing that. So, in your um, perspective or experience with working for the community garden, as well as in your field, what have you noticed as general problems that affect students associated, uh, maybe with like substance use, who also might be suffering from food insecurities, if any at all? Have you noticed any problems with students on NCCU's campus suffering from food insecurities?
Well, I would say I'm not sure if it's necessarily food insecurities or just access. So food access. So for example, the cafeteria is open for certain times throughout the day, and then there are other entities on campus that students can go to eat, but those close at certain times of the day. And as college students, the times that they eat, sleep, it varies, and a lot of times students find themselves most productive in the later in the evening or at night, and they're looking for something to eat. And a lot of times, the access to have something to eat is limited on campus and off campus, being that NCCU is in a food desert of healthy eating options, to be exact. And so, I think it's not necessarily an issue of insecurity, like food is there. It's just when people are able to access that is a huge issue. So,
Mm. Thank you for sharing that, Mrs. Farrington. So I do want to ask for the students who regulatively visit the community garden and um, they enjoy helping out, and even students who will watch this video and they will be eager to volunteer with the garden. What could those students expect um, coming into your program?
yeah, we have garden bed. We have about 20 plus garden beds. We grow things like herbs, rosemary, oregano, sage, mint, cilantro. We grow greens, collard greens, cabbage, turnip greens, spinach, kale. We grow fruit, strawberries, blueberries, blackberries. We have an apple and a peach tree. We step out the box and try some new things, like eggplant and okra and onions and garlic, pumpkins even. So it's a learning garden. Everyone is welcome. You don't have to be an expert. Just come with a willing heart, ready to learn and be a part of a community. We're open to students, faculty, staff, and again, the community members of Durham. And so you will see some of our seasoned folks there imparting their wisdom and knowledge. Um, and then you can also see as young as 5 years old out there. So it's very family friendly. You can bring your kids. It's a good time for them to learn as well and connect with the earth. Um, our hours are on Tuesdays and Thursdays from 10 a.m. to 12 p.m. Every semester they change, but what we try to keep consistent is Tuesdays and Thursdays from 10 a.m. to 12 p.m. For the fall 22 semester, we have a Friday hours from 1 to 3, and most Saturdays from 8 to 10, or sometimes from 8 to 12. So you can come in, you can just weed, you can harvest, you can seed, you can just help with making sure things are in order. We provide gloves. We ask that you come with closed-toe shoes and just be ready to get a little dirty. But other than that, if COVID is the issue, you can distance yourself from one end of the garden to the other. So that's usually not a factor. And again, it's a great stress reliever. Um, and I'm not sure if we're going to continue to delve a little bit more into that.
Well, thank you for sharing that. I actually wrote the times to 12 to 2 in my planner. So during one of my lunch breaks, I might have to kind of sneak away from the office and come volunteer for a little bit. If that's okay. I don't know if that
Oh yeah, we accept
is acceptable.
everybody. And again,
Okay.
it's from 10 a.m. to 12 p.m. and on Fridays from 1 to 3. So Tuesdays and Thursdays, 10 a.m., 12 p.m., Friday 1 to 3. We grow flowers as well. So if you just want to get a bouquet of flowers to put on your in your room or on your desk, you can come by for that as well.
So sweet. Thank you, thank you. And I'll make sure to notate that as a staff member here at NCCU, to definitely come out and assist. Um, so with that, I do want to also focus on individuals who might want to use the community garden as a source to gain access to food. With that source, how often could a student or any individual, I'm not sure the limitations, but how often can individuals use these services to receive food? Is it weekly? Is it once a month?
That's a great question. So, every day we have those garden days. We collect harvest and we set it out on the table for anyone to grab. However, we always leave some things behind. So, I tell the students don't glean everything. Leave some behind just in case someone else comes and wants to grab some green beans, or some squash or zucchini. So you can come anytime. Any time of the day, it's open. No one has a designated plot. No one will be offended if you grab something, just because we want it to be a community garden where you have access to food. Um, so especially in in the summer, we're thriving, with cantaloupe and strawberries and all that type of stuff. But we want it to be a place where you never have to go hungry. If you want, it's a salad waiting on you right outside your door. So there are no restrictions when it comes to that.
Thank you again. What would you So with the aspect of individuals being able to not only come to get food to nourish themselves, as well as individuals who would like to come to volunteer, whether staff, student, or other, would you say that there are therapeutic components of gardening? And if so, would you have any expertise in that quote unquote horticulture therapy?
Yeah, so there is a thing called horticultural therapy where it started off being implemented years ago, working with veterans coming back from the war as a way to help them cope. And it's just kind of grown exponentially in the um, validity and the need for it. And so it is something that you can go to school for, that you can become licensed in and certified. I am not, but it is a thing. And there are some scientific research that suggests that playing in this, getting in the soil, playing, gardening, whatever you're doing with the earth, that there is a chemical in the bacteria of the soil that when it's released, it releases a serotonin that helps with depression, those who are dealing with depression. So there is some research that supports, scientific research that is supporting that, hey, the closer you are to the earth and being in that space, it can kind of help with the mental struggles that you may be experiencing. And I know for me, from certain life challenges that come up, it's just always very relaxing. We have garden parties, so a lot of times we'll play music when we're out there. You can be the DJ if you want. We have done yoga in the garden, so we do different events, open mic, that sort of thing, just to have it as a nice, calming place. And it's very rewarding, especially for your overall holistic well-being.
So you took the words right out of my mouth. I was just gonna say, holistically, the benefits that this garden, the community garden, has to offer just seems so enriching, right? Um, from the aspect of listening to music to processing these neurotransmitters such as serotonin to kind of help your mood out. Um, and with that, I do want to ask for any students that might be listening. NCCU does require students to obtain a certain amount of hours, community service hours, before they graduate. So, are students eligible to gain community service hours? Um,
Yes. So these hours, the work that you do in the garden as a student can count for community service for graduation. We also have some people, if you have some run-ins with the law and you're required to complete some community service work, we welcome you with open arms. And a lot of people usually do pass their required hours, and they fall in love with the work that they're doing and the change that they're making in the community.
see, with every question, it makes me more and more, excited to get involved, because it's really doing great work, not only from NCCU's community, but also the community at large. And I think that's a
Mhm.
very admirable thing that you're doing, Mrs. Farrington. I just want to state that. So as I continue, I know that you stated that you um, essentially started in 2019, and you all are going to celebrate, the community garden is going to celebrate its 10-year anniversary soon.
Mhm.
So with that, from your expertise or experience, how has the community garden um, grown in the past, and what can we expect in the future? Will there
Mhm.
be any potential future collaborations with maybe NCCU's food pantry or NCCU's Collegiate Recovery Counseling Center? But what can students expect as well?
Yes, so from the past, this was started by a student, so it is something that has more of a student focus to kind of lead the direction of it. So it's a whole HBO special on the student that started this. But she started one in her hometown, which was in I believe Eastern North Carolina, so in the country. And she came here and noticed kind of, again, those food insecurities. We've just started to get a couple of restaurants around here, but it was really nothing just a few years back. And so, with with that, she it's probably about 5 beds. Like it wasn't that many beds. And like I said, we're at 20 now. When COVID hit, so I started at Central in 2018, but when COVID hit in 2020, no one could come to campus. It really looked like Jumanji out here. Like there were weeds as tall as you and I. And again, just relying on community, which is so beautiful to see. We had folks coming out weed whacking, and we had to rearrange and build all the beds back. Um, this, seeking out funding from different entities, so that it's not just all on Central, but really pulling in community partners like Keep Durham Beautiful, Cooperative Extension, to really come together and to sustain this. Um, with building, we have built the beds back up, gotten produce in it, gone through a full gardening cycle, um, and secured additional funds. Aramark has also contributed a lot. So with all of that, bringing us to present day, moving forward, it's been a journey, because first it was a geographic landscape of the actual physical garden. Then it was getting people to know that we're here, having them on a regular basis to commit to volunteering. We're getting that. That's going good. So now our next step is just working to secure more funding and getting the awareness out more. So having kids feel comfortable from the neighborhood, just walking up to the garden, and on a summer day when they're stuck at home, maybe with grandma and granddaddy, to say, hey, can I come up here? We have enough space where you can play soccer or do any type of sports and things as well. So just have it as a space, a communal space, so that it's not just the garden, but it's where you can just come and sit in a nice quiet environment, and look at the flowers, sit with your loved one, talk. So we're working on an outdoor classroom, which we had, but one of the storms blew it away. So we were working on getting that back, so that more classes can have instruction outside, get some vitamin D, maybe feel better about coming to class. Again, funding, and then hosting more workshops, things like doing preserves and how to start your own garden bed. So we're looking to take the knowledge that we're learning and continue to expand it for generations to come.
Yes, yes, yes. Can we get some snaps if you're watching? Let's get some snaps to Miss Farrington. Such a wise and profound young woman. So as this interview pretty much comes to a close, I do want to ask, is there any final remarks that you wanted to share? And how could students find NCCU's community garden? Do you all have any social media or anything of that nature?
Yeah, so we do have social media, Campus Community Garden at NCCU on Instagram. That's another one of our initiatives, is kind of broadening our social media reach, Facebook, LinkedIn, that sort of thing. Um, but final remarks, um, the garden is, so, it ties so much into kind of the ups and downs of life, in the seasons of life. You have beautiful, gorgeous seasons where it's just flowers everywhere, and it's produce, it's bees, it's a strong harvest season, right? And then there are seasons where it's cold, things look like it's dead, dying, it's not gonna come back. But then there's that spring where you start to see those bulbs peek back out and those flowers bloom. And so um it's a beautiful place to be, to help with your mental, um your emotional intelligence. I will also say that um all of us are planting seeds into people. We're sowing seeds. Now, whether they're good or bad, we're kind of determining that with how we treat people and that sort of thing. But You know, you got to think about what are you doing outside of yourself. Sometimes serving others can help you to have more fulfillment and a sense of purpose in life. So if those times comes where you do feel lost, you know, it is a good place to kind of tap into knowing that you're planting physical seeds, you're also planting spiritual seeds in the people that you connect with in the garden, and it will come to fruition and there will be a harvest. And so I welcome you all to join us. Just try it out. If you've never done it before, that's okay. I started off as just a volunteer. I'm still volunteering, but I just started off as just a regular person out here just pulling weeds. And just because of that consistency and commitment, they was like, "Hey, you want to do this like for real, for real?" I was like, "Okay." So just try and just see how you feel and where it goes from there. And bring your family. Everybody can come. So
Y'all hear, y'all hear that now, right? She's inviting you all. Please take note. She gave you the times. Please, 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 please show love, and please, please, please give it up for Miss Farrington for an amazing, amazing, awesomely profound, wise interview. So thank you, thank you, thank you, thank you, Miss Farrington, for everything that you have shared with us. So as we wrap up, I just want to thank you all our viewers for joining us today. Please make sure to follow us on all of our social media platforms. You can follow us on Instagram at NCCU Collegiate Recovery Community and follow us as well on our Counseling Center page at NCCU underscore Counseling Center. You can follow us on Twitter or our Facebook at NCCU Counseling Center as well. And so as we come to a close, Ms. Farrington, you it has been a blessing. You are awesome, and I hope you all enjoy your day.
thanks.
All right. Bye bye.